Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the vlog. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. We are back at it with a little bit more C8 content. I'm really excited to bring to everybody a video I've been wanting to make for a little while now. And that is share the top 5 things that every C8 Corvette owner should do with their 2020 or 2021 C8 Corvette. In the coming weeks and months, I'm definitely going to be sharing with everyone my 5 things that I love about this car, as well as the 5 things that I hate about this car. As many of you car enthusiasts know, there's no such thing as a perfect car, so every car has its little nuances. Some of those you kind of have to deal with, and then some of those are things you can kind of fix in the aftermarket world, either with aftermarket modifications or enhancements. And in this video, I wanted to take the time to share with everybody the 5 mods that I think every C8 Corvette owner should do to address some of the minor deficiencies that may exist in the design of the C8 Corvette. Start a couple pop shots out in the woods. It's a little weird. But anyways, the C8 Corvette is truly one of the most amazing machines that I've had the good fortune of owning and experiencing so far, and I do genuinely love this car. And before we jump into the 2020 C8 Corvette, I do want to provide a small TRX update. As many of you that have been following the channel know, I do have a 2021 Ram TRX on order, and I'm looking forward to possibly taking delivery of that truck at the end of March. Unfortunately, communication has not been great from Ram. There's been a lot of conflicting stories. Nobody really knows exactly when production for certain vehicles is going to happen. I actually ended up backing out of my order, trying to chase down a dealer stock order, but I thankfully was able to get a VIN last week and a potential production week of March 1st. So if you haven't been following me, definitely follow me on Instagram. I do try to keep everyone up to date on the TRX updates there. It's much quicker and easier. I won't have dedicated TRX content until the truck actually gets here. And so in the meantime, if you're looking for TRX content, I know about 100 or so people subscribe to the TRX order video, or I went through the order for their channel's TRX. And if you're looking for up-to-date TRX content, check out Butter the Great. Don't let the subscriber number fool you. I really enjoy watching his videos myself. He also does an amazing job keeping everybody up to date with the latest and greatest TRX information. And so I'm going to link his channel in the description below. Definitely go ahead and check him out. If you want to subscribe, go ahead. I highly recommend it. And I really look forward to taking delivery of that truck and sharing that ownership experience. But in today's video, we want to talk a little bit more about the C8 right here. Specifically for C8 Corvette Squad, the videos are doing really well for a small channel like my own. So without wasting any further time, let's dive right into today's video. The number one thing that I think every C8 Corvette owner needs to do as soon as they get their C8 Corvette is install radiator grille guards. I've done a full video already talking about it with install notes, the specific product that I went to, so I won't beat on this topic too much, but I really can't stress how important it is to install radiator grille guards to protect the factory radiators from rock chips. I'm not going to go ahead and label this a design or engineering flaw, but I will go and say that I think that the C8 Corvette probably should have had a little bit more protection. I've seen Lamborghini Aventadors, and the Aventadors actually do have factory guards or a mesh material to prevent rock chips from getting to the radiator as easily. But that is definitely one of the highest things on my list of modifications every C8 Corvette owner needs to be doing to their C8 Corvette. When you go to trade in your C8 Corvette, I think that that modification is going to help preserve the value for you, and for under $100, it's really the best bang for your buck. Number 2 on my list of things that I think every C8 Corvette owner needs to do is ceramic coat the wheels. And it's a little chilly to show exactly right now in this video, but the reason I say that is because the Z51s do produce a lot of brake dust. Try to zoom in and show right here. You guys can see the major difference in how much brake dust came off of that, as well as on the calipers. And this is after only 50 miles since my last wash. Maybe 60 miles at best. And so I've had the whole car ceramic coated, but specifically the wheels is important because of how much brake dust these wheels produce. Maybe that's a little bit more specific to the Z51 package, and it's something I anticipated with a performance vehicle that doesn't have ceramic brakes, but ultimately I think the ceramic coating does a wonderful job of making it super easy to clean. I can mostly just pressure wash most of this brake dust off because these wheels are ceramic coated. But if you wait too long, you may have to do a little bit of gentle rubbing with a nice little wash mitt. but it is significantly more easier to wash the wheels if they are ceramic coated. And I think for $200 to do the front facing sides of the wheels, and another $200 if you wanted to do the wheel off caliber package ceramic pro, that's at least the price that I paid for it. $400 to basically do all 4 of the wheels I think is a really good bargain price to have basically an ease of maintenance for something you know is going to get dirty really quickly. Depending on your driving habit and where you live, maybe doing the entire vehicle isn't a must, but I do think that the wheels get a little bit more brake dust than I would have anticipated. Whether it's a DIY kit that you buy for $100 to $150 and do yourself on just the wheels, or if you decide to go with a professional install, that's definitely something I highly recommend everyone consider doing. The third thing on my list of things that I think every C8 Corvette owner needs to do is get a memory card for their C8. It's nice and warm and not windy in here, but what I mean by that is the C8 Corvette has a performance data recorder. From the factory, it doesn't come with a memory card for that PDR system, and so you want to install one as soon as you get it, as well as configure in the PDR automatic recording. Inside of the glove box, there is a slot. I don't know if the camera is going to catch it, but there is a slot right there to put your memory card in. And the memory card that I went with is a 128 gigabyte SanDisk Ultra Plus. It's a really good memory card for HD recording. Great amount of storage, great speed to transfer for photos and videos, and it's basically about $35 at Best Buy. But what it allows you to do is basically have a full-time dash camera running at all times, so you're recording your vehicle when you're driving around. Under the unforeseen circumstance that you may have a car accident or something, you have it on video in case there's an insurance dispute, as well as the intended benefit of actually being able to record yourself on the track. So let me go over to the driver's seat, and we're basically going to go through the settings that I use to set up my PDR system to be recording at all times. And now you're going to get your full setup for the PDR system. Let me actually turn the car on. For $35, I don't know why you wouldn't want to just automatically set this up. It's a great piece of technology that Chevrolet has incorporated in the C8s, and it just takes a little bit of settings and configuration options to set it up to work for you. So now you want to go up to the settings tab if you haven't already. I disabled audio recording. It gives the memory card a little bit more time to record video because it doesn't have to store any audio to go with it. I also set it to automatically record when I turn the vehicle on, as well as video recording quality is set to the highest available output. But honestly, it's as simple as that. So number 4 on my list of things that I think every C8 Corvette owner needs to do is actually inside of the frunk. Basically, the thing that I think every C8 Corvette owner needs to do is there's a $40 part made by AGM that basically covers this emergency frunk release button. And we all know that the C8 Corvettes have already had a couple of issues with their frunk, including a recall early into production. And one of the things that I noticed, and I'll show a picture right up here on the screen, one of the concerns that I've had for a little while now is when you have the frunk filled to the top with luggage, what happens if your luggage rolls into and hits the actual button to unlock the frunk? This is an emergency latch, so the recall doesn't actually enforce a 26 mile/hour limit on this. This can be pressed at any point and the frunk is going to open because it's for emergency use only. I think from the factory it would have been nice if they had some sort of cover to this panel, but either or, if you have a C8 for $40, they make a little part that fits into the 12-volt outlet and that covers this button, just to add a little bit of peace of mind. As you guys saw in that picture, if the gallon of milk had shifted over and hit the button, then the frunk would have actually ended up opening up. That could be another concern if you're going on a long road trip and you have a lot of luggage that's stored in the frunk. Then what may happen is some of that could shift while you're driving and accidentally release the frunk. I do have a couple more things beyond 5, but the number 5 item on my list of things that every C8 Corvette owner should do is expel the rockers. The reason why I say this is because these Z51 tires are very sticky. A lot of stuff really sticks to them, and so all day when I'm driving around, I constantly hear, when the music isn't on, things bouncing off the rockers, specifically the underside of the rocker. And even sliding my hand, I can feel all the imperfections that have happened to the expel on the rockers from just regular driving. These rockers take a beating. I don't know if that's just specific to the really grippy Z51 tires or if that's something that applies to all C8s, but it's an issue nonetheless that I've kind of noticed, and I highly recommend spending the money to expel just the rockers. I think the full frontal protection package can vary depending on your use case and how you use the C8 Corvette, but specifically for me, I can't remember the last time I saw a street sweeper in my town, and what that basically says is the fact that if you have debris on the road, your rockers are going to be taking quite a bit of impact with regular driving. And I paid $600 to have just the rockers expelled. The full frontal protection package was a separate package that cost more, but if you spend the $600 to protect your rockers, you basically end up with expel right along this rocker as well as up into this area. The expel actually goes all the way up into this seam. I have another full video breaking all that down, so definitely consider checking out that video. But I think for $600, you're protecting a really expensive and a really beautiful vehicle from long-term wear. So after, say, 5-10 years, you decide you want to trade it in, you can pull that expel off and your rockers are going to be almost mint condition, because a majority of the small dings and dents have been absorbed by the expel. And last but not definitely the least, this is actually the #1 thing that I recommend every C8 Corvette owner do to their C8 Corvette. I saved this for last, so if you've stuck around for the video long enough, I greatly appreciate it. The #1 thing that I think every C8 Corvette owner needs to do with their C8 Corvette is enjoy it. I know that sounds a little bit corny, but I genuinely mean that. I met a really nice gentleman who has a C8 Corvette. He actually got his before the factory shutdown back in March. And so he was one of the earliest people to get it. I met him at a car show. He was really excited to see this C8 Corvette. He didn't bring his C8 Corvette out because it is the winter months and he didn't want to drive it around. Understandable, respectable. He asked me how many miles I had on mine, and I told him I'm just crossing 1,000 miles on the C8 Corvette. And so naturally I asked him, hey, how many miles do you have on your C8 Corvette? You probably have a lot because you got it so early. And I was blown away that he told me he had 200 to 300 miles on a C8 Corvette after almost 10 months of owning it. But when he told me that he was afraid to drive it from it getting rock chips or from it getting, you know, banged up in the area that we live in, potholes and all that, it genuinely seemed like he was afraid to truly enjoy this $80,000 investment that he's made. And there's a lot of different ways to enjoy it. Personally, I could enjoy this car just sitting in the driveway staring at it all day. But after all my months of being a part of the Corvette family, watching a lot of other YouTubers that have a passion for Corvette, this car is meant to be enjoyed. Up until now, in the entire history of the automotive industry, you could never get the supercar presence that this vehicle has, the supercar performance that this vehicle has for this price point. And if you're able to get into the C8 Corvette, definitely do not let that opportunity go by, because it's truly a humbling and grateful one to be able to enjoy a car like this at this price point. I personally would never be able to afford a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. I can't imagine this channel ever getting to a point where I could actually afford a car like that. But to be able to afford a vehicle that, in my opinion, I think is a more practical, a more reliable, and a more capable vehicle and platform, that's easy to service, that's easy to maintain, I think this truly is a genuinely amazing vehicle. But what that means is that this isn't a car that I think is meant to just be looked at. You really want to get it on the road, you want to enjoy it, you want to do things with it, so don't be afraid to drive it. You know, I was driving, I took a rock chip to the windshield, you know, I was sad for about a couple hours, but honestly, it's less than $1,000 to replace. If this was a Ferrari, yeah, all day long, that's a couple $1,000s. Insurance will hopefully cover that when come time. But my point is if you have a C8 Corvette, the thing that you absolutely need to do is enjoy the vehicle. It is like 30 degrees outside, so I'm fighting some breeze and some really cold air to record this video. So if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. This channel is slowly growing. It's seen an exponential amount of growth in the last couple of weeks, and I'm hoping to carry that momentum into 2021. Stay tuned, because sometime this week I do plan on making a video of what my revenue numbers are with my first month of being monetized on YouTube. For all my fellow number lovers out there, I look forward to releasing that video to share what some of my income numbers from YouTube as a platform have been. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, give it a big old thumbs up. It's 30 degrees outside and my hands are freezing. So until next time, I will see you all in the comment section below.